All right. So now we have my beautiful wife Esther here, and Esther, you're going to be gonna tell us a little bit about some of your books. I think you were to pick four.
Picked four.
All right, four of the books, and she's read several books. She's read more books in her life than I have. That's for a fact. And
Really?
yeah, for sure. You were definitely a reader. I did not grow up a reader at all. Anyway, so here we have your first book, The Phantom of the Opera.
This was it was hard to get into in the beginning, but later on, it builds and it's more interactive where you're wanting to stay with it. And it was really good. It was based more of like a mystery about a murder.
So, Esther, what drew you to read this book?
I saw the movie.
Oh, and
I
what
wanted
about
to
the
see
movie that you like?
how the Phantom was helping the person that became the star singer to learn how to sing.
Okay. Now you said it was a little bit hard to read at the beginning. What do you mean by that?
Because it's written in English from a different language, it's harder to grasp the understanding of some of the older English. Unless I was able to finally grasp it and to be able to read it better, I was able to get more into it.
What is it in the book? Was there anything in the book that surprised you that wasn't in the movie or wasn't emphasized in the movie?
For me, the thing that surprised me the most was how the ghost was in the opera box and how he would travel through the walls. There was like secret passageways through all the walls in the opera.
Okay, and you don't remember seeing that in the movie?
No.
Okay. Now, I think I remember you saying something about it being some type of mystery that you needed to solve. Was that them trying to figure out who the Phantom was, or?
They were trying to figure out who the Phantom was.
Okay.
And also who was killing different people.
The Phantom was?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was supposed to be a good guy.
Yes, but he was killing some people that were not good.
Okay. So there's that moral dilemma that he's killing, which isn't good, but he was killing bad people. So where do you categorize that, right?
Right.
Oh, okay. And anything else that surprised you or that you felt that the movie did better than the book?
No.
No? All right. Awesome. Any additional thoughts you would like to say about that?
I recommend reading The Phantom of the Opera. Might take you a little bit longer if you want a harder read to read The Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, okay. And this next one that you have here, I see, is by Karen Kingsbury, Someone Like You. Now, you are a huge Karen Kingsbury fan.
Yes.
She brought this one particular book down. She could have brought down like 50 to 70 other Karen Kingsbury
I
books.
don't have 50. I have like 40.
Oh, 40. Excuse me. 40 Karen Kingsbury books. I think you have more than that.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. So. Well, we'll count. We'll find out. But this is the one you chose to talk about. Someone Like You.
Yes. This one is about a architect. He had fallen in love with a girl when they were in high school, and then they separated, and they came back together as their best friends. And she had to find a way that she was adopted by an embryo, and her parents that adopted her embryo weren't really her biological parents, because her biological parents were the ones who created the embryo.
Oh, okay.
And so she had to understand and go through all the grief of all of that. And it's a good book, but it's also a movie too.
When someone reads Karen Kingsbury, what is it that they should expect from her type of writing?
More of it's like a story-based writing, and it builds on itself. Like this one is one of her standalone novels, but she also has other ones that are based on families, like a specific family and what they've gone through, like starting when they were younger all the way through their lives.
Is there a particular one you have in mind?
The Baxter family is a really good one.
Okay. And this book, what you said you saw both the movie and the book?
I've not seen the movie.
Oh, you
I
have
wanted to
not
read the
seen.
book first before we would see the movie.
Okay, and what is the movie on?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look because it was in
Okay.
theaters back in the fall.
All right. Well, that's great. That's great. Now, this next one here is a massive one, and there is a movie classic that came from it, and that is Gone with the Wind
I think that one took
by
me
Margaret Mitchell.
2 or 3 years to read, right? Or longer.
It took you about 2 years, not because she's a slow reader, it's because there's different things going on, and I think the font is also significant.
It's really small font.
Well, it's smaller font, yeah. So you can see here, not all books are created the same. You can read a 200-page book, and then you can read a 200-page book that's like this. The writing is just different and so forth. This particular one, apart from that, I think is, let me see here, we are at 1,037 pages. All right. Now, you have not seen the movie.
I have not seen the movie.
I did see the movie. I did not read the book. Not yet. Maybe someday I will. Now, tell us about the book.
This book talks about during the Civil War when everyone was fighting for the abolishment of slavery. And it follows the story of a girl by the name of Scarlett. And she's a very selfish woman. And it goes through how she's like trying to manipulate everybody into doing what she wants. And even in the end, she was still manipulating people, even though she went back to her home and there was nothing there for her to go back to. She was still trying to get her way when it shouldn't be that way. She should have been trying to help other people at the same time.
Now, I know the movie does display her as being very selfish, and she had a lot of love interest and so forth, but she also suffered a lot. I know, at least in the movie, I think it was at least halfway through where she really started suffering. Was there a lot of suffering also in the book? And do you think the author, what's her name? Margaret Mitchell, do you think she communicated that? Did you connect to her?
I did a little bit.
Okay.
She, excuse me. She did suffer in the book, but she also, every time she would suffer, she would try to find a way out of it instead of stopping and thinking of other things to do to help other people. She would go and try to manipulate her way out of the suffering.
Okay. And not that all fiction needs to have a moral lesson. Do you think this one had a moral lesson?
I think it had a little bit of one. Say, like it was where she should have realized that she shouldn't be trying to manipulate others and to try to help others and do it with the right motive and not with the motive of what she could get from it.
Okay. Do you recommend this book? Or you do? Okay. And for what type of reader do you recommend this book?
For an advanced reader.
An advanced reader. What would you consider an advanced reader? Like someone in high school? I
would say high school, college.
Okay. And because it's going to dedicate the time. What do you have any warnings or any, like for example, for Moby Dick, I tell people, do not stop reading Moby Dick if you feel like quitting when you are in the Whiteness of the Whale chapter or in the 100+ variety of whale chapter. Skip those if you have to. Do not stop because of those. Is there any slow moments in this book where you feel like people may want to quit?
The middle is very slow.
Okay.
But don't quit and give up on it. It took me a while to finish it because of how thick and like sometimes it's very, very slow and you can't get into the rhythm of it, but don't give up. Even if you have to put it down, read a little bit of another book and then pick it back up. Okay.
Because was this the first type of book like this that you've read?
Yes.
I don't know what you would consider this. Maybe even more of a literary fiction because I think it's very character driven, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Are we okay? Go to the next book?
Yeah.
All right. The last book that you want to talk about is The Woman. The Woman. And this is by Kristen Hanna?
Mhm.
Okay. Tell us about The Woman.
This one was she was going through like the Vietnam War, and it was talking about what happened to the nurses that were in the Vietnam War, and what happened to all the women that were forgotten, because the nurses would go and the women nurses would go and they would sacrifice a lot over in Vietnam. They would work in the hospitals and help with surgeries and everything. But they also had to deal with bombings and seeing people that they learned to care for pass away during it.
Okay. Okay. And what motivated you to read The Woman?
This was a book club
Okay.
that I was reading it for.
Okay. And how did that go?
It was good.
No, the book club.
The book club did not go well.
Oh, did not go well.
No.
But it was still worth reading the book?
Oh, it was very worth reading.
Yeah. I know there's, you told me if there's one book you recommended me reading last year, it was this one, The Woman. I know she definitely wanted me to read The Woman, and maybe at some point I will. All right. Well, thank you very much, Esther, for sharing some of the books that you read this year and what you thought about them. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.